man, I might have overdone it with the New Year's party. Oh, bugger, it's the 30th anniversary of Sonic the Comic. That's right, Sonic the Comic is now 30 years old, which means it's definitely old enough to have a mortgage and a few bad decisions under its belt. So let's start this new year off with a bang. It's issues 49 to 53. For the A stories, there's the 2-part Countdown to Disaster and the 3-part Disaster. Although I guess in the grand scheme of things we can consider this a 5-parter. So yeah, let's just call it the 5-parter Disaster. For the B stories, we have parts 2 through 4 of Zone Runner and the Big Freeze, the Tails story. Then we have the Knuckles vs. the Cybernik one-off. And part 1 of the 6-part Knuckles the Echidna Total Chaotix. Most of that will be in the next video, but this will be the introduction. Then we have the concluding parts 3 and 4 to Captain Plunder and the Sky Pirates as part of the C stories, and Sonic's World Face from the Past. That will conclude the C stories. Oh yes, it's finally happened. Last time was a fake out, but this time the Death Egg is finally getting into orbit. And there's only one energy source which can power the Death Egg. The Master Emerald.
The time has come, my Batnik. Bring me the Master Emerald, and if Knuckles should get in your way, destroy him! I obey.
Knuckles and Sonic are leaving the sandy caves from the previous episode. However, the tunnels from the Sandopolis zone have led right into the live volcano. That's the lava reef zone for the uninitiated. The live volcano is located right in the middle of the launch base zone, and that puts them close to the Death Egg. Closer than they think, because it has been sitting on top of the volcano all along. And emerging from the Death Egg are the Egg Robos from Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Except instead of being like independent robots, these seem to be remotely controlled by Robotnik himself. As these walrus teeth robots, they have an onboard speaker, so Eggman can taunt his enemies as he wishes. Once Knuckles drowns all the Egg Robos into the lava, they then double time it to the Hidden Palace Zone. The royal family ruled the floating island from this hidden palace. They arrive to the Emerald Chamber to find that the Master Emerald has been taken. Without the Master Emerald's power, the island shall fall. The Chaos Emeralds have also become huge, like the Super Emeralds from Sonic 3 and Knuckles, which SEGA refuses to admit ever happened. Who has the Master Emerald? It's him! Metallix, the Metal Sonic!
I am Metallix, the Metal Sonic. I have come for the Master Emerald.
Metal Sonic takes the teleporter into the Sky Sanctuary Zone, and with the Master Emerald, Metallix has absorbed the energy.
I can absorb the energy directly from the Master Emerald. With its awesome power, destroying you will be easy as stepping on an ant. And now, Sonic, I will have my revenge. Revenge for the death of my brother.
Turns out that the Metallix that Sonic destroyed all those episodes ago was just one out of an elite brotherhood of Badniks. This is called a Chekhov's gun. This next generation Metallix outmaneuvers Sonic at everything. Faster, stronger. However, that's only when he has access to the Master Emerald. His energy depletes to 15%, and Sonic lands directly on the Master Emerald, so he can absorb the power for himself, becoming Super Sonic, which is bad. What's also bad is that the Master Emerald was already on the teleport pad, so it got teleported straight to the Death Egg. Super Sonic destroys Metallix, but now he goes to pummel Knuckles, until Sonic snaps out of it and realizes he was hitting his ally. Knuckles seems not too bothered from the fact that Sonic nearly pummeled him to death. Without the Master Emerald, the Sky Sanctuary begins to fall apart, and the sound of thunder is really the Death Egg lifting. The ultimate weapon, finally airborne. Robotnik proclaims that with his destructive weapon, Emerald Hill Zone will be no more by tomorrow. Sonic and Knuckles just barely make it off the Sky Sanctuary Zone as it crumbles, with Sonic riding on Knuckles' back and using his dreads as I don't know, he's using his handlebars? Seems that Sonic has taken trick from a game which won't be released for a few years, because he uses a homing attack to bounce off of every egg robo and into the Death Egg itself. Knuckles is too low down to actually get in, so he's going to go back down to the floating island, because he has an idea. Sonic is surrounded by the onboard security systems of the bootleg Death Star, whilst Knuckles is returned to an ancient chamber. It looks like he's activating a command center. And now the floating island has begun to move towards the Death Egg itself. Sonic is now prisoner of Dr. Robotnik, so he can only sit and watch as the Death Egg shall now destroy the Emerald Hill Zone. When suddenly, the Death Egg is hit with an energy blast. They're under attack from the floating island itself. It's shooting some sort of whack-ass ball of energy. That's right, the floating island not only has a command center, it has weapon systems. Might as well be the bloody Starship Enterprise at this point. Sonic dislodges the power source from the weird chamber-looking thingy, and without the Master Emerald, it'll have no power and will begin to fall again. Oh, and this is a beautiful 2-page spread. Death Egg falling. Master Emerald in free fall. An Egg Robo snatches the Master Emerald. So Sonic counter snatches the gun. Look out, cause Sonic's got the Glock. In order to escape freefall, Sonic steals a jetpack off of one of the Egg Robos. Once he manages to find himself back onto the floating island's land, he grabs the Master Emerald, only to be ambushed by another giant Egg Robot. The evil Doctor repeatedly tries to squash him like a bug, but this time, Sonic destroys him with much more ease, much more savage, and then Robotnik falls off the island's edge. Oh well, it won't be a soft landing, but we know he'll live anyway. Knuckles insists that we get the Master Emerald back to the chamber before it falls. However, Sonic bargains. He'll let him have it in return for a favor. In the next page, we see a bunch of woodland creatures in boats and longshoreman outfits trying to make it to what is now a landed floating island. The Emerald Hill Zone has been completely evacuated. Knuckles has agreed to relocate the refugees into the Mushroom Hill Zone, as long as they stay in the Mushroom Hill Zone. And now, with the Emerald power, it begins to fly again. So now all the people of Emerald Hill are safe, with Emerald Hill now abandoned.
I tried going easy on those Emerald Hill worms. I tried to be a just ruler, but that's all over now. From now on, it's no more Mr. Nice Nick.
Alrighty, let's crack on with the B stories. Previously in Zone Runner 2, Tails got a message from Sob of the Zone Runners, the flock. Witnessed her death, and then hightailed it to the chemical plant zone where it has frozen over. And now he finds himself face to face with Sol Furic. Tails believed that Sol Furic was responsible for destroying the flock, but nay, 'twas that robot Nutzan Bolt. Sol Furic has defected from working for the Tyrant, and now seeks to end Nutzan Bolt's reign over the chemical plant zone. Sol Furic brings Tails through the underground city. Tails has to wear some sunglasses because he's not a very popular man. Not that it matters anyway, because people recognize him anyway. Once Tails and Sol flee, Sol begins to flashbacks to when Nutzan was promising a better future for the flock, and how Nutzan turned out to be a crazed tyrant. He was actually looking for the flock to defect back to them when the headquarters exploded. But the reports of Sob's death have been greatly exaggerated. Looking at Sol Furic and Sob like right next to Tails really shows how off-model they can be. They don't look like they're part of the same universe. Imagine what they'd look like under like IDW Sonic when everything's like, they all fit a theme or something. A style. Once Tails convinces Sob to not shoot Sol in the face and make him lose his other eye, she tells of how she survives the attack. The explosion actually pushed her back into the exit of the base when it exploded. That's a bit of a convenient Deus Ex Machina. She also catches up Tails with what's been happening with Nutzan Bolt. He has a new body. Indestructible, invulnerable, made out of a thing called living ice. What the hell is living ice? Bugger to find out. Tails and the flock enter Nuts and Bolts' ice castle, and god damn! Look at that body.
Oh no, he's hot!
You could grate cheese on those abs. Jesus, man. Neither Saul nor Sap can destroy Nutzan's new ice body with their blasters, and Tails can't get the drop on him because he's just too maneuverable in that thing. Tails wishes Sonic was here, he'd know what to do. But I'd like to remind you that the S word is Nutzan's personal trigger. Tails keeps using the S word and it makes him furious, it makes him livid, it makes him boil from his cheeks. And it makes his body just melt his head off. And he runs away. But Nutzan gets to the control panel for the chemical plant zone and halts the freeze, melting the entire environment around them. You're too little. Fortunately, with Tails' microputer, they managed to refreeze the castle and have saved the people of the chemical plant zone. The people no longer hate Tails for destroying their home previously. They love him for saving them from the tyranny of Nuts and Bolt. And in the end, Tails tries to get a snooze, but gets woken up by Amy and Sonic. There's no rest for the weary, isn't there? Continuing B stories, we have a bit of a small one. Remember the Cybernick? Well, he's back and he's more of a bastard than ever. He manages to find himself on the floating island itself, trying to destroy a flying badnik. However, Knuckles manages to get the kill, and he tells this new badnik to sod off his island. Shorty tries to tell Knuckles that he's not a bad guy, but Knuckles doesn't believe it because he's been lied to one too many times. Knuckles gives him a good thwack with his fists, and Shorty says, "I told you I'm not a badnik. My name is Short Fuse, and I've got a short temper." They duke it out a little, and then Short Fuse backs off. However, Knuckles gets ambushed by a bunch of monkey badniks. I think they're called coconuts, I can't remember. Bollocks. And then winds up coming back to save Knuckles' life. This convinces Knuckles that Short Fuse is not a bastard. Concluding the B section, we have part 1 of Knuckles in Total Chaotix. Previously in this issue, Knuckles managed to get his Master Emerald back, and the floating island continues to fly. Knuckles keeps an eye on the refugee camp that's being built in the Mushroom Hill Zone, or Mushroom Valley. I can't remember what it was called. Knuckles manages to spy a crater that was left by the Death Egg in the previous stories in this video. But he finds a strange ring with ancient writing on it. Knuckles tries to translate it, but apparently it seems to be a gateway. A gate to the stars. Now I'm just joshing you. It is a gateway to a dream country. And I guess he shouldn't have touched it because away he goes. He's not in a dream country, he's in a nightmare country. He finds himself in the bizarre special zone. And who else would be in the special zone? But guess what? It's a callback to issue 8, even though we're in like 53, so it's been a while. It's the all-knowing, all-seeing Omniviewer. But the Omniviewer's information is a bit out of date because he still believes that Knuckles works for Robotnik. So he summons the defenders of the special zone. Who are they? The Chaotix! Tune in next time to find out who are the mysterious Chaotix. The 5 fighting crime-fighting duo fighting. Alright, not long left. The concluding parts 3 and 4 of Captain Plunder and the Sky Pirates. Thanks to the newspaper, the Mobian Times, the crew of Captain Plunder have found where he's being held. And now that Captain Plunder has escaped his change, the cat, Simpson, tries to tell Captain Plunder where the secret tunnel is. And he points it on that wall there. right after the metal bars. Though, the one we can't get through because of all these bars and such. So, now what are we going to do, you f***ing muggy? Perplexed, Simpson has no idea what to do. Then he gets an idea. Cartoon physics. That's just... And then they get ambushed by the guard. Whatever the heck the guard is supposed to be. And then Simpson paints a pit. Just cartoon physics. I don't believe this. We fought our way through 20 guards. You got that, mate? Oh, I'd have said at least 25. This tunnel was dug by Billy Gulch. It took him 20 years to make. The day he was going to use it, they pardoned him. Poor guy never got to use it. Meanwhile, the pirates find Gulch's tunnel, so the captain is as good as rescued. So at two ends of the tunnel, one is doing a breakout, the other is doing a break-in. Of course, it's so dark that you can't see. So Simpson gets an idea. I hate it when he does things like that. Someone's coming because they see a light at the end of the tunnel. They think it may be the guards. So Simpson has to put the light out. There's a bit of a snafu. So as the pirates make their way into the prison, Captain Plunder and Simpson make their way out. And then, the next day, the big headlines all over the news. The Mobian Times, Captain Plunder escapes. The Mobian Mail, daring escape from Highview Correction Center. The Metropolis Zone News, still no sign of the escaped pirate. The Mob, Sonic the Hedgehog ate my hamster. Well, it won't be too hard to find out which one of these is a parody of The Sun. 2 days later, and Plunder's Mystic Cave hideaway is completely abandoned. They've still got the booty, but no crew. Filch has managed to escape because, well, he's a ghost. No prison can hold him. And, well, the entire crew has been captured because they went into the prison. Whoops. They can't do that to me, crew. I won't stand for it. We'll rescue them.
Then you could share out the booty. They helped you steal, right, Captain?
You know, they were a pretty hopeless crew. I never did like them that much, I think about it. Come on, mates. It's time I found me a new crew. Planet Mobius isn't the last of Captain Plunder. And for the last sea story of the day, Sonic's World, a face from the past. Grimer has a new plan to take out Dr. Robotnik's most foul enemy, something whose mission is to infiltrate Sonic's outlaw group and gain their plans, and destroy them. Meanwhile, in the jungle zone, Sonic and Tails do another prison bust, as they are prone to do. When suddenly,
Sonic, is that really you?
hey, there's only one cool blue hedgehog, buddy.
Only one blue hedgehog, sure. But before you gained that streamlined image, you looked at me. Don't you remember me? I'm Tonic, your brother.
Sonic doesn't have a brother.
Maybe you don't remember me. We were born a very young age, and we were separated as infants, but now I'm back. And I've heard about you, Freedom Fighters. Let me join you.
Sonic scares away Tonic, but Tails goes to follow him while everyone else gives Sonic a bit of a bollocking for scaring off his long-lost brother. Turns out that Tonic was actually a spy. Well, duh. And Tails managed to find them in the act. This is not Tonic, this is Metamorphia, the shapeshifter. Remember Metamorphia? Well, she's back and disguised herself as a bloody hedgehog again. This is not the first time, if you remember. Sonic eventually deduces that Metamorphia is Tonic, while not being anywhere near Tails when he made the discovery. He just sort of came to that conclusion on his own. Metamorphia and Sonic and the Freedom Fighters duke it out. Metamorphia transforms into a giant orange monster, and they get smacked in the face, and then turns into orange goo, which no one can escape. They give Metamorphia a bit of a run around, and then Metamorphia falls into the waterfall. Dr. Robotnik is completely livid that Metamorphia was not up to the task, but Metamorphia ensures that she adores Dr. Robotnik. A bit of flattery goes a bit of a long way, because prevents Metamorphia from getting thrown into the incineration shaft. doesn't like being called a monster, but Metamorphia looks forward to the day that she can destroy Sonic the Hedgehog. Also, Grimer seems to take a bit of pride in his own creations. Well, that'll conclude this episode. Next time, we'll learn more about the Chaotix crew. We will get the precursors to that mysterious Brotherhood of Metallics that we heard about. Maybe I'll have a guest on. Happy New Year.
And did someone say long-lost triplets?